high-tech oils, available from Auto One, Sprint Auto Parts, and all leading independent auto stores.
On today's show, we head back to last year's drama-filled Fuchs Winternationals from Willowbank Raceway. Today, we're going to feature Top Alcohol and Top Doorslammer. Then we head back to 2013 and to Sydney Motorsport Park. We continue with all the action from the Porsche Rennsport Festival. This is Speedweek.
After losing the title in the final round of 2014, Queensland's Gary Phillips has been on a mission this year to take back number one.
Man who wants to get that championship back. And he chased him down with a 44! One of Gary Phillips' best ever runs.
But there are plenty of hungry opponents who will do anything to ensure Phillips doesn't win his 17th Top Alcohol Championship.
We went 5:33 in Las Vegas. We brought the car straight over here and we didn't want to change a thing, so we went 5:35 twice.
This weekend our focus is to qualify. There's 11 cars here. We're going to try really hard to get this thing hopped up and going as hard as it can go.
I mean, we've got 3 or 4 cars that are already proven 540 cars. We're not there yet, but hopefully we can work on things and creep up and try and catch up to those guys.
This is the event that you need to be at in Australian drag racing. I mean, we always would like to come to Winternationals. It's the biggest event. You know, the amount of cars and the amount of people that come to this is just great for Australian motorsport.
Well, welcome to Willowbank Raceway. We are here on these hallowed grounds for the 2015 Fuchs Winternationals. What an event this promises to be. It is always one of the barn burners of the year, and we are really looking forward to going racing with Top Doorslammer and Top Alcohol here today. It promises to be a massive event, and the crowds that we are seeing through the gates already really indicating what kind of quality we are going to see here this weekend. Let's have a look at the championship points now for Top Alcohol, and well, Gary Phillips has a commanding lead in this championship, 226 points. The only man who can mathematically catch him, John Cannulli, is way back on 158 points, but it's not over till it's over, and John Cannulli is down there in the pits with our man Matt Nolte.
Well, Top Alcohol's been a hotly contested championship this year. Unfortunately, the Nitro Champs didn't happen for us, but the guy next to me, John Cannulli, has been in some great form leading into this. He'll chase down Gary Phillips with 1 round to go this weekend.
Yeah, the car's been good. The car's been we've been doing a lot of testing the last couple of months, try to keep up with Gary, and I think we've found it. So see how this weekend plans out.
He's one of those guys, isn't he? He finds a 10th, and everyone catches him that he finds more, just when you think you got him covered.
He sure does. He's been doing it for years, and he's the master at it.
He's always been good under pressure here this weekend. Are you feeling it, knowing that you could take the championship off him?
Well, it happened last year with Steve Ham taking the championship away from him. Anything can happen. We're just going to wait and see on Sunday afternoon.
The Fuchs Winternationals is always one of the marquee events on the ANDRA drag racing calendar, and 2015 is no different. We are seeing a massive crowd as the fans start to pour in. We've got 9 cars for an 8-car field in Top Alcohol. Let's have a look at Friday afternoon qualifying as I welcome Matt Nolte to the commentary box.
Rusty, great to have you here for this round of the championship. You're right, a massive crowd here for Friday afternoon. And Jamie Noonan is back for the first time since 2012 and straight to number 1 here in this first session, 5:65.4 for the dragster.
Not a bad way to acclimatise yourself with the Willowbank Raceway quarter mile, but then this happened. The very next run, Gary Phillips, big issues, got some liquid under the tyres and into that wall. Very, very hard. Now, you've got to remember, Gary Phillips is in championship contention, isn't he, Matt?
Yeah, this was a big moment for the 16-time Top Alcohol champion. The throttle jammed after it hit the wall here. Very uncharacteristic moment for Gary Phillips. Was very, very lucky. The body peeling off the car. You can see the elastic holding the body from going over too far into the grandstands here, but a massive moment and a big dent on his championship hopes.
Absolutely, and in terms of the driver, there was nothing Gary Phillips was going to do about that. It was apparently a broken oil fitting that dumped all that fluid under the tyre, and well, that was all she wrote.
John Cannulli and Darren Fry are up next, and both at their times disallowed. Cannulli touching the wall and then Fry taking out the finish line blocks.
Steve Reid, though, he showed them exactly how to do it. Straight down the centre of the lane for a 5.54 to go to the number 1 qualifying spot. But it was all about Gary Phillips after that first qualifying session, and Matt Nolte's down there.
It's an empty pit space. It's a sad sight. Breaking news from the pits here after qualifying last night. Gary Phillips, aiming to win another championship at Top Alcohol, got off to a really bad start with that shunt. It was a big shunt last night.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's got my attention a little bit. I'm all right. I'm fine.
Take us through it.
A fitting came off the oil pump. Just a small -3, like little real small fitting that went to the data unit on the car. And it was enough to squirt. You know, obviously you can't tell that in the car, but as soon as I let it swap feet, I let the clutch out. Oil got underneath the left-hand tyre, and because it was probably going 100 mile an hour, I guess, when it wasn't that far off the start line, but because they accelerate so fast, and yeah, it did the abrupt turn, slammed into the wall, and that was all she wrote. Like it was a 90-degree hit, and it was a pretty hard hit, and then I couldn't shut the car off because when it tore the front wheel and the air bottle and all the systems off the car, jammed the fuel shut off and the whole thing. So the car was sitting there idle and making a mess on the track for everyone else, which I apologise for. But
well, we thought the Friday crowd was big, but we definitely didn't expect this. A massive crowd in the house for Saturday qualifying in Top Alcohol. This is session 2.
I love Super Saturday, and why not kick it off with a couple of dragsters here. John Sting gets his best time of the weekend at 5.54.1 for the man that won this event last year up against Pete Zello.
Next up, Jamie Noonan and Darren Fry. Darren Fry, good run for him. 5.66, gets down in that fantastic-looking funny car. I've got to say, 5.66 gets him solidly into the field. Our number 1 qualifier coming into this session, Steve Reid is on track now, but Rob Ambrosi gets a little bit loose in the braking area, gives the wall a tap. It's after the finish line, so that run still counts for him.
Yeah, just some work for him to do between the sessions. It was night time when we come out for qualifying session 3, and the crowd stuck around to see Ambrosi come out. Cannuli would do his career best qualifying time ever, but the big talking point left the screen. Rob Ambrosi, a big blow-up in the Ashfields entry, and that would actually put him in hospital overnight. He will make it back out for race day, but a big moment there for Rob Ambrosi.
So John Cannuli will lead us into race day with that personal best of a 5.42, really knocking on the door of the national record as well, it has to be said. Steve Reid, second, 5.54. John Sting, Jamie Noonan, Darren Fry, Rob Ambrosi, Peter Zello, and Wayne Price rounding out your qualified field here in Top Alcohol.
The Crow Camps Pit Report here on the final day of the Fuchs Winternationals, and Top Alcohol is up for grabs today, and John Cannuli grabbed number 1 in qualifying last night, and you're edging closer to that championship trophy.
Yeah, we are. Took us a couple of goes to get it right, but the third qualifier we come out and we put a really good number down on the board, which is our personal best. So we'll see how we go today.
That run in that last session, that was very solid, and you look very calm and relaxed. But the nerves there today, it's race day.
Oh, it sure is. Like that, the second qualifier, you get really nervous out there, and the second qualifier got really nervous. But the third one calmed down because we were solidly in the field and we made it stick. And yeah, glad to be having number 1 today.
Well, race day and beautiful conditions here at Willowbank Raceway. Another massive crowd packing in, completing the trifecta. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's been incredible crowds, shoulder to shoulder for the entire weekend, and that's exactly what we like to see here at the Fuchs Winternationals. First round of Top Alcohol about to hit the track, and Matt Nolte, this promises to be a big one.
Yeah, pretty stacked race ladder, isn't it? Thanks to Snap-on, Cannuli and Price, Noonan versus Fry, Reid versus Zello, and Sting up against Ambrosi. In this first round of eliminations, of course, lane choice going to the quicker ET from qualifying, and history will show that left of screen has been pretty popular over the years. As we check out our first matchup, it's going to be Darren Fry that qualified in the number 5 position with that 5.66, taking on Jamie Noonan, who's in some great form in that Noonan Race Engineering dragster in the background of that picture. This guy's been fast, Rusty.
This guy is very, very fast. He's got a new combination on this weekend, and it's got to be said, he's actually made the final of the last 2 Winternationals as well. So the guy's in very, very good touch when it comes to racing here at Willowbank Raceway. But I think all eyes are going to be on the championship connotations once John Cannuli rolls up to the line here this afternoon.
Yeah, Noonan doesn't care about that. He's here to go fast, and if qualifying was anything to go by, this dragster is threatening the Top Alcohol Dragster national record this weekend. First round of the winters here, the 48th edition at Willowbank.
Whole shot advantage to Noonan.
Oh!
Very tight at the finish line, but the win going to the dragster. 5.50. That's a booming run for a dragster. On board now with the replay. This was just about picture perfect the whole way down the racetrack.
Just close to the centre line. It's under the national record, so he's got a chance to back that up in the semis. Tough break for Darren Fry. Man, the funny car was on a mission. And just a car length to the finish line.
Well, new personal best as well for Darren Fry. It's got to be said with that 5.57. A valiant effort with the loss there, but still very, very tight racing in Top Alcohol. Next pair up, Peter Zello, a relative newcomer to Top Alcohol dragsters, but not necessarily to drag racing in general, and he is taking on one of the old hands of Top Alcohol in Steve Reed.
Yeah, Steve Reed watching now the All-Star Batteries entry. Brand new matchup in the championship. It's his first race day start for Peter Zello, of course, of Zello's luggage fame. These parents, Kevin and Joan, who started the business back in the 70s. He's a former comp racer, and he debuted this car last year, but great to have him in the field for race day here today. But Steve Reed, he knows this track like the back of his hand, Rusty.
Well, he's been up and down it once or twice, it's got to be said. He basically grew up at this racetrack, has done a lot of racing since this place opened, and I think if there's anybody that you don't want to come up against in the first round of racing, it is Steve Reed.
He was tied with John Sting for ET in qualifying. He got the nod. He was 12 miles an hour quicker during that run. Bought the All-Star Batteries funny car. Both in. And it's a reaction time advantage to Zello, an 0.64, but it's not going to be enough. The All-Star Batteries funny car gets the job done and runs a 5.54. The speed is there also, 411 Ks. Still a good run, though, for the dragster, Rusty.
Yeah, Mr. Consistency for Steve Reed this weekend. Peter Zello looked like he had to give it a pedal. Looked like it might have even thrown the blower belt off it, or something definitely came off that car at around about half track. But still, Steve Reed, he might not be the quickest car in the field this weekend, but he is certainly one of the most consistent.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to find a tenth or a tenth and a half per second that he needs to find to run with the likes of Cannuli, who's been running in the 40s most of the season. We'll go to our next matchup now, Wayne Price, the number 8 qualifier, and the time not respective of what this best engineered car of the Winternationals, we should say, is capable of doing. But it's going to be a hard task to take down this guy. Chasing the championship, career best ET in qualifying, 5.42. I talk of John Cannuli.
Now the championship scenario, as it shakes out for John Cannuli, he has to make the final round. If he makes the final round, he will be a first-time Top Alcohol champion. If he loses before then, it's all over. The title will stay with Gary Phillips. It's going to be a pressure cooker.
And Phillips is in the stands, pretty much down the end of that shot right now, watching on. He's done this before, if you think back to 2012 also, when we raced on a Tuesday. But it's Price and Cannuli in round 1. Oh dear. 0.434 for Price, and Cannuli's going to hose him at the finish line here and goes 5.43 again. This guy is hungry for a championship.
5.43, that is a booming run from the funny car and really backs up that qualifying performance. I tell you what, Wayne Price was never really in this one. He was a day and a half late on the start line. You'd think for a baker he'd get up early.
Yeah, that's spoilt that doesn't, hasn't it?
Well, John Cannuli, he continues this potential championship march, but still a fair bit of work left to do for him.
John Sting, the defending Winternationals champion, reversing up for Reds Global this weekend, qualified in number 3. Will take on Robert Ambrosi, who's back today. He's suffered a little bit of injuries from last night, but he's okay to go. They've worked on the car all night, and a guy that went 2 tenths quicker in qualifying. He said, I've never felt that fast ever in my life. He's got James Rowland on board this weekend, the Ausfield Performance Racing Oils entry, 5.76. This guy was running 6 flat and 5.90s all season long.
Well, 5.70 is definitely in the ballpark, still with a little bit of work left to do when you consider that John Sting qualified in the 50s with the dragster. He is the defending Winternationals winner, as you touched on, so John Sting in some very good touch over the last season. But Rob Ambrosi, he's going to be hungry for his round win here in the first round of the Fuchs Winternationals Top Alcohol, final pair of round 1.
They last met at the Nationals last year in round number 1. On that day, John Sting put him back on the trailer. Ambrosi's got the whole shot here. And is he going to do it? Oh, I don't know about this. He's just going to hang on. It's a 5.70. It's a whole shot win, a massive whole shot win.
Whoa, chalk one up for the driver right there. That was a massive reaction time advantage. Nearly 2 tenths of a second, and he pulled it out at the finish line. John Sting just didn't have enough to drive around him. A hint of tyre shake for the dragster. getting very close to the centre line for the funny car, but that was all it took, and he takes home that round win.
That's the upset of the round. It was visible from the jib canny. You're right about the tyre shake just before half track, and Ambrosi fights on.
So here is your Top Alcohol race ladder for Snap-on. The semi-final sees a must-win matchup for John Canuli taking on Jamie Noonan in that big hitting dragster, and Steve Reed will take on Rob Ambrosi in an all-funny car battle.
Well, last night, this guy was on fire for all the wrong reasons, Rob Ambrosi. Today, you're looking down the barrel of maybe your first win at the Winternationals.
Yes. Well, last night was not good. We had a blower explosion there and a lot of fuel and everything come in the cabin all over the car. But that didn't stop us. The boys, I've got to hand it to my crew, my boys worked till 4:30 in the morning to actually get this car going again. We went to the first round with Sting and we put him out, so that was a good one on a whole shot. And I'm going to do my best to do the same today, whoever I've got next round.
Well, that's the first round of Top Alcohol for the Fuchs Winternationals run and done. But stay with us after the break. We're going racing with Top Doorslammer. Don't go anywhere.
The 2015 ANDRA Top Doorslammer champion has been crowned, and his name is John Zappia. Now with a record 8 Doorslammer titles to his name, the West Aussie's dominance this year has been nothing short of superhuman.
This one's going to the stripe. Zappia just 7,000ths of a second at the stripe. That is one of the best Doorslammer races we've ever seen, if not the best.
But this weekend isn't about the championship, because if you can't be a champion, then you want more than anything to win the biggest meet of the year. The Fuchs Winternationals.
It's a one-off meeting. It is the big hoo-ha here in Australia. Any meeting's good to win, and there's no questioning any of that, but this year you've got about 18, 19 cars, I think. We'll be out there giving it our best shot, to win is ultimately where you want to be.
Right now, we'd love to end up in the top 3, but a Winternationals Golden Tree would be great. Excellent, yeah.
I don't go to a racetrack not thinking that I can't win a race, so every time I hop into my race car, I think I'm going to win. I know I'm going to win, and that's the attitude you've got to have. It don't matter, you don't have to be the fastest out there, you just got to have a real good attitude, and fortunately enough, I'm strong enough to have that.
Well, it's time to go racing with the fastest sedan-based cars in all of motorsport, Top Doorslammer, here at the Fuchs Winternationals. This promises to be huge. The championship is already decided. John Zappia has tied that one up a few events ago, but the battle for third is really starting to hot up between a couple of West Aussies and a Queenslander. This is going to be massive. Let's have a look at the championship points as they shake out, and as I touched on, John Zappia has already wrapped this thing up. Maurice Fabietti, the New South Welshman, really completing a career renaissance this year in second position. Pino Priolo in third, Marty Dack and Grant O'Rourke fighting it out for that third position. Daniel Gregorini, Peter Kapiris and Wayne Keys round out your top 8. And one man who is looking to salvage his season is Stuart Bishop, and he's down in the pits with Matt Nolte.
Well, it's been an absolute dry spell for Top Doorslammer in the recent past. We got rained out at the Nitro Champs in May. It's been Adelaide since we've gone racing, but the Winternationals is back. It's home track territory for this guy, Stewie Bishop. It's time to make hay while the sun shines, my friend.
Yeah, we hope so. Hope this weekend will be a good weekend. We've got a new sponsor on board, Loyal Watches, as part of the Wallace Bishop brand. It's a watches that we've produced in the family since 1934. So it's been around for a while, but it's time to push the brand and get it out there.
It's been a hard season, of course, with the repair of the car from the crash at the Nationals last year. You just made it to Perth. We always knew this was going to be a tough season, but I guess you're now thinking about next season now.
Yeah, absolutely. Aim is just to get this car this weekend, get it up and going and on speed. We've struggled for this short season to get it going. We're nearly there. It's all the little 1%ers in getting it going, so we're looking forward to this weekend.
Well, round one of qualifying for Top Doorslammer is about to hit the racetrack in beautiful conditions here in southeast Queensland. We are really looking forward to this one. And having a look at the highlights now, I'm going to bring Matt Nolte in because this was an interesting session.
Yep, no chance of rain this weekend. Don't be fooled by those clouds, Rusty. It was Friday night qualifying here, a great crowd on hand. And Marty Dack and Ben Bray, the comeback kid, aboard Dad Victor Bray's 57 Chev, were down the track in the first pass. It was a 5.98 for the Dack attack aboard the Valvoline Falcon.
How good is it to see Ben Bray back in the seat? Peter Capiris and Pino Priolo pulling up to the start line now. This was a controversial one, but the time of Peter Capiris, 6:02, stood, and Pino Priolo, a 6:01, would have got him into the field, but was disqualified.
Yeah, it's created a massive stink amongst the paddock here this weekend. John Zapier came out in his usual qualifying best and goes 5.73 straight off the trailer. Something we're accustomed to, but the Willowbank crowd loved it, and so did the Fuchs team.
The man is a freak. There is no doubt about it in my mind. He's already an 8-time national champion, and that car just keeps getting quicker and quicker and quicker. Beautiful conditions for qualifying session 2 and 3 here on the Saturday, and a huge crowd in the house as well.
Super Saturday. Look at those grandstands. Absolutely packed. Paul Cannulli is back aboard Sean Mifsud's Plymouth Duster this weekend. It got bouncy in the end, but he went 6:03.
Big deformation in the front end on that car as well. Really odd to see. Stuart Bishop and Mark Valeri now, both cars getting into the field. Stuart Bishop with a beautiful run. Good to see that car getting back to its best.
Grant O'Rourke knows that third place in the championship is up for grabs, and he responded with a 5.88 in qualifying session 2. The O'Rourke Motorsport entry.
That team has really impressed me this season. They've come back, they've bounced back from some adversity earlier on in the year after a theft in their trailer, and they're really running as one of the strongest cars in the class at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a tough old season. Pino Priolo came back for another look. It was only going to be a 6.09 for the Team Budget Forklifts Watson's Express entry. Goonan gets a nice time there though.
Jeff Gradden and Rob Taylor now. Gradden, our Nationals winner from last year, a 6.055, came very close to nudging into the field, and Rob Taylor, unfortunately, in his debut, does not make it in.
Yeah, it was getting friendly with the end of the track here. Capiris trying his best here to better his Friday time, but Wilson gets down the track and shows Capiris the parachutes aboard his entry.
Johnny Rosso, now the man from the ACT, and what I think is one of the best looking door slammers in this field, knocks off a fuel line off the top of the supercharger and has a big blower backfire, and unfortunately he is not going to be in for race day.
What about Benny Bray in the 57 Chev, the quickest this car's ever gone, 5.91, and Benny Bray gets himself nicely into race day. Issues for the Narrabeen Smash Repairs team on the left-hand side.
Dan Gregorini now, and the man, John Zapier. Gregorini only a best of a 6.31 on this pass. Lots of sparks out, but John Zapier yet again right down the centre of the racetrack. No matter what the conditions, the man is flawless.
Russ Pavey and Donnelly are up next in Rusty Gregory's favourite car left of screen. He went 6.056. Russ Pavey gets himself in with an 0.51.
Yeah, some interesting results here in Top Doorslammer qualifying. No surprises with John Zapier leading the way. Grant O'Rourke in second, Ben Bray in third. Great to see Mark Valeri, Marty Dack, Peter Capiris, Paul Cannulli into the field, and Russell Pavey rounding out the 8.
Well, check that out. 8 times Australian Top Doorslammer champion now in ANDRA Drag Racing, John Zapier, and he cemented himself again at number 1 last night. But you got a bit of fun for the crowd coming up today, I feel.
Yeah, that's right. We did a 73 when the track was a little bit slippery for everyone else, and it sort of worked for us. We pedalled a little bit. There was a little bit left in it, but then we got after it yesterday, and we tried to run a lower 70 or a high 60, but we just overdid it on one. It rattled hard, and it went an 80 flat. And then the last one, we had no tyre shake. It was near perfect, but it just hopped the left tyre on the when I dropped the clutch, and the car just went left, and then it went straight towards the wall. So I had to pedal it to straighten the car up, and I went an 82. So we were disappointed, and we thought about it. We went, hang on, 82 is a pretty good time considering. So we'll just back it off a little bit more today, just to make sure that it leaves the line straight. And look, at the end of the day, if we can get through first gear on full throttle, it'll run a flat 70 or a high 60. So we just got to make a consistent car today and get on there and try and put this one in the bag.
So no surprises leading into race day here at Willowbank Raceway for the Fuchs Winternationals. John Zakia leading the way. But the thing that I love to see is surprise qualifiers, and we've certainly got that with Ben Bray, Paul Cannulli and Russell Pavey in this top Doorslammer field. It is going to be a big, big day of racing, and well, we're yet to see who is going to walk away with the gold Christmas tree, Matt Nolte.
Yeah, the snap-on race later tells us the story. Zapier against Pavey, Baleri versus Dak, O'Rourke versus Cannulli, and the key matchup in this one will be Ben Bray up against Pete Kapiris, the 8th time these guys have met in the past 10 years. Looking forward to that one.
That is your snap-on race ladder for Top Doorslammer as we head into the first of our first-round matchups. It is Mark Baleri in the Narrabeen Smash Repairs Camaro taking on Marty Dak, the man in the Midwest Pumpcrete car out of WA.
The crowds have been pouring in here all 4 days, and Sunday race day is no exception here at Willowbank Raceway. The 48th Fuchs Winternationals are on board the Dak attack. This guy in line for third in the championship. What he needs, though, is for O'Rourke to go out in the first round of competition. These guys have been really strong this season.
Yeah, these two guys are probably two of the best drivers that we've got as far as reaction times go in Top Doorslammer. Mark Baleri, one of the absolute young guns of this class, and Marty Dak, a guy who came into the class probably pretty tentatively a couple of years ago, but I tell you what, this guy holds his own. Of course, run-it-up at the Nationals last year up against Jeff Gradden, and he's really started to come into his own as a driver.
Slots the Valvoline Midwest Pumpcrete entry into position. It's his own business out of Western Australia, and Mark Baleri, a little bit of work to do. Oh no, it's the centre line. It's the centre line for Dak, and Baleri will move on to the second round.
Wow, and a 5.93 puts the exclamation point on it for Mark Baleri there. Lucky and the team will be very, very happy with that going to the semi-finals. But Marty Dak, not sure what happened there, just whole bunch of tyre shake, little bit of tyre smoke, and over the centre line we go after an 0.23 reaction time. That's fantastic in one of these cars, but it was all for naught in the end.
Here's a replay. This will be telling on board, and plenty of oversteer, but not enough. There's those fateful yellow lines. And that's the end of his championship, and a nervous wait to see if he can hold down third position.
Next up is the marquee matchup as picked by Matt Nolte. Ben Bray driving Dad's car. First time that we've seen him back on track in 12 months since this event last year. Of course, we all saw that terrible, terrible accident and we all feared the worst. Fortunately, Ben has recovered from his injuries. He's back in the car, got the all clear from the doctors, and I've got to say he's looking pretty trim, taut and terrific at the moment.
Man, it's given me some inspiration. 30 kilos he's dropped in 12 months. I was impressed when I dropped 8. But 30 kilos, very impressive. He's been married recently to the lovely Samantha, who we just saw in the shot just before. And this team looking for corporate backing to do the entire championship next year. And this car is back in flavour country, running in the 590s.
One of the absolute professional teams in Top Doorslammer, one of the pioneers in Victor Bray, and Ben is certainly no slouch himself. Has got 2 championships to his credit. He's up against Peter Kapiris, another former champion. He's got the whole shot, but it's not by much.
Oh, I like this. It's on. It's a car length at the end, and it's a 93 for Ben Bray. And it's only 69 thousandths of a second. It didn't look that on track, but it was all about the reaction time. And Team Bray Racing fight on. What a comeback as we ride on board with Ben Bray.
Yeah, it was just about as perfect as you can see at Top Doorslammer run. A little bit close to the centre line at the top end of the racetrack. And Peter Kapiris, you could see his shadow. He was right there the whole way down the racetrack. The margin of victory in the end only ended up being around about a car length. But man, from the stands, that one looked close.
Absolute squeaker of a race. We predicted it before in our snap-on race ladder. And Ben Bray, Samantha and the crew love what they see. He moves on to the next round.
Next up, Paul Cannulli in the Janssen Racing Engines car that is owned by Sean Mifsud. Fantastic to see it back on the racetrack, and got to say it's a big shout out to that team because that car has still got a root supercharger on board, not the more favoured PSI, which 99% of the Top Doorslammers run in this day and age. But, well, Grant O'Rourke, what can we say about this guy? Has really come into his own as a driver and as a team this year. Of course, running the 2-car operation with wife Debbie in Top Alcohol, and I think that 2-car approach is really starting to pay dividends. Is that...
Familiar names and familiar faces on the car. Shane Tucker and, of course, Sean Mifsud, who owns the car this weekend. Great to have Paul Cannulli back in the championship. His first race day since the Nitro Champs in 2013. The brother of John Cannulli, who's battling it out for Top Alcohol Championships.
Paul Cannulli is a man who can drive. As is Grant O'Rourke. We've seen both of these guys all out of shape. Neither wants to give an inch, and Grant O'Rourke gives up too much. 0-2-1 red on the tree, but Paul Canuli getting really close to the centre line doesn't give it away. A 6.64, not an elapsed time that we would have expected to win in this first round of Top Doorslammer, but Paul Canuli gets the win as a result of that red light.
Second of the season for O'Rourke, and guess what? That's great news for the Valvoline team, because that now puts Dak to third place in the championship.
Indeed.
21 thousandths of a second on the wrong side of perfect.
Just so close for Grant O'Rourke. He will be absolutely kicking himself. You can see John Canuli and the whole team. I can see Rob Tucker, Kirsten Tucker Canuli in there as well. It's just a family affair on the start line, isn't it?
Family reunion, if you like. What about this guy? 8-time champion and Top Doorslammer, the Fuchs Monaro. And we're sad to say that Striker Crushing will no longer be on with the car. He's looking for an associate sponsor for next year. John Zappia, we should see him in the first couple of rounds at least. But check this out. He went under the national record, but needs to go 5.78.7 or better to back that up. And I believe he can do that today. But he's got Russ Pavey, one of the likeable guys of the sport, all the way from the Gold Coast. This massive crowd watches on here today at Willowbank Raceway. Gee, the Winternationals, it always brings out the fans, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, absolutely. And that's because we have monster matchups like this. John Zappia, he's now a record holder, 8 national titles, consecutive national titles. Takes over the mantle that Gary Phillips had in the late 1990s, early 2000s, where he won 7 straight national titles.
Just adjusting the mirror, that's been an addition this year. He's asking, because it's left-hand side, he needs to be able to see the tree. He can't see because of the height of the engine and the supercharger, which has caught him out a few times, including in Perth this year.
Russell Pavey, one of the absolute gentlemen of drag racing, one of the nicest guys in the sport. Would love to see this team get some corporate backing to go racing on the full tour.
Oh, Pavey. Oh, he's touched the line, has he? And Zappia will win this regardless. And the Fuchs Monaro goes down the track for a 5.75, 407 kilometres an hour. Richard Zappia and the crew take a bow because this national championship may be sewn up, but he's after the national record once again.
Well, it was all over for Russell Pavey. It was a great reaction time. 0.38 had the whole shot advantage, but just a little bit of tyre shake on the start line. John Zappia, what can you say? This run was, again, just about perfect. And a 5.75, a little way off what we probably would have expected, but still, he's through to the semi-finals, and that's all that counts. He will take on Mark Balleri in the first of our semi-final matchups, and Paul Canuli will take on Ben Bray in 2 returning races to Top Doorslammer. That is your snap-on race ladder. We'll see you in the semi-finals.
Well, the Crocan Spit Report here at Fuchs Winternationals 2015. Ben Bray, we just saw the car come to life again. You had a moment there, still ran a 93 in the first round, but you weren't entirely happy.
Yeah, no, I had no, the car at about probably 1,100 feet, lost all drive, neutral, touched the rev limiter, so I got off it. That's the 20 mile an hour I'm missing there. It should have gone probably an 88, 87, so I was pretty happy with that. It's the quickest half track, quickest 1,000 foot the car's ever done, so I'm pretty wrapped with that. Not 100% confident in the car right now. We still got a little issue we're not 100% about, but I got to take it to the start line and try, mate. We're at the Winternationals, like I'm here to win.
Well, Top Doorslammer is living up to its reputation. The first round is done. Stay with us, though, because after the break, we're coming back with the semi-finals of Top Alcohol and Top Doorslammer. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Willowbank Raceway, the 48th Fuchs Winternationals here, the season-ending round of the ANDRA Drag Racing Series. Check out andra.com.au for all the information as we close another season, but not too long before we kick off. Rusty Gregory up there in the beautiful part of the world in the top end.
Yeah, really looking forward to that one. Kicking off with Top Doorslammer and Top Alcohol, the 2 categories that we are seeing here today. And the first semi-final matchup that we've got, it is going to be Steve Reed taking on Rob Ambrosi. And Rob Ambrosi, it's been an up-and-down weekend for those guys. Ended up in hospital after qualifying, made it back for the first round of racing, and was, well, a bit of a giant killer when he took out the defending event champion, John Steen.
Yeah, it's a brand new matchup too in the ANDRA Series, as you can appreciate this weekend. Rob Ambrosie's daughter Monique racing in junior drags, as we'll see in upcoming weeks, the Ausfield Performance Racing Oils team. There is James Roll. There's Monique also in the shot as well. She's very keen, Rusty, to get behind the wheel of this car. Whenever they do startups, she's the first person in that car.
I don't blame her. I'll put my hand up if nobody else is offering, but Steve Reed, well, what can you say about this man? Has done just about everything there is to do in top alcohol drag racing. A very, very experienced pilot indeed. And as always, Debbie Reed bringing her husband into stage. Rob Ambrosi, now he's tried to stage here, but he's brought the car in very, very shallow.
Gets the advantage, hole shot wise. The lid on top of the roof just comes up a bit. He's hit the centre line, and Steve Reed will get the win regardless of this. 5:56, 404 kilometres an hour, and one of the icons of the sport will continue on to another final here at the Winternationals. That car of Ambrosi just wiggled its way across and took out the finishing line blocks.
And it just shows you when you're running 250 miles per hour, it doesn't matter what it's made of, whether it's foam or what, it goes straight through the front end of these funny cars. Rob Ambrosi with a little bit of damage to fix after that one, but, well, he's got the off-season to do it.
Well, this is it, the moment of truth for John Cannulli. He needs to win this, an 80% win percentage this year. The numbers are all stacked for him this year in the championship. He's had 4 wins this year as well in lane choice when I come to that, but he needs to win this race to make it to the final to become champion.
It's a simple equation. That's what he needs to do. And ironically enough, this is exactly the same situation that we saw Steve Ham in at the end of last season in Sydney at the Nationals. He needed to win the semi-final round to get over the top of Gary Phillips in the championship. Gary Phillips was stranded on the sidelines, and he did that. He walked away with that championship. John Cannulli, he'd be happy if he could do that. Now he's up against Jamie Noonan.
Here we go. Cannulli versus Noonan. We're away. It's a reaction time advantage to Noonan. Oh dear, it's a big fireball for the Crossroads team. And Cannulli loses it, but the car is in trouble here. He's blinded by the vision.
Oh, that is as big a fire as I've seen in an alcohol funny car for a long, long time. It's not just the fire in these situations, it's also the smoke. You see the safety hatch open at the top. Fortunately, Johnny's out of the car. He is a very, very fit man, so he'll be A-OK once he gets his breath back. But you can see the team on the start line there, just very, very concerned. The good news is John's out of the car. He is A-OK. The bad news for him is that is the championship run and done in the most spectacular of circumstances.
Fuel just started to leak out. Looks like a line's come loose. He had a similar incident in Nitro Champs years ago, but this is the talking point. An amazing drive job to pull this car up from not whacking into the back of Noonan.
Yeah, and in all that excitement, Jamie Noonan on his way to the 3rd consecutive final round here at the Winternationals. John Cannulli did a great job of getting that car pulled up, because you've got to remember, under these cars, you've got breathing apparatus to keep the fresh air coming in, but once that fire goes over the windscreen, once that smoke starts filling up the cabin, you are blind. You're trying to see, you're trying to breathe, you're trying to get that car stopped. There's a lot going on inside there, and John Cannulli did an absolutely first-class job of getting that car pulled up at the top end.
Oh, and he's out of the car. You can see left the screen. Kirsten, his wife, just giving him a big hug. He was nervous this morning. He admitted that, and it was all for him to gain today, and it's so unfortunate. Cannulli will have to wait for 2015, 2016. He's going to head to the US after this, but it's going to be Noonan up against Reed in the final, Rusty.
What we also need to say is congratulations to Gary Phillips on championship number 17 in top alcohol.
Well, at the start of this weekend, we didn't think this was going to happen, but Gary Phillips, you are now a 17-time top alcohol champion of Australia.
Yeah, mate, it's, you know, what I said to you before about going to a gunfight and having blanks. You know, I got a lot of flack about that because they're going, well, Gary Phillips with blanks. Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but it's just fantastic. You know, commiserations for John with the fire in the final. We went down and saw him and he's fine and all that stuff, but we certainly would have liked to have had a car that we could have raced legit and all that stuff. We've had a really good year. This is what we live for, you know. He's the number one priority right here. That's why we didn't run the Doorslammer, because Deb's health was paramount, and I honestly had to be, I got to say, I was more nervous than when I actually race. And you know, I have you know, butterflies or big moths. Well, they were eagles. I can tell you, them suckers were just about ready to rip me throat out up there, and when I saw that wind light come on, it was like I just won Go Lotto 3 weeks in a row.
Well, Top Alcohol was decided in the most spectacular of circumstances. Let's see what Top Doorslammer has in store for us here in the semi-final rounds. This huge crowd is hanging around and they are absolutely watering at the mouth at the semi-final matchups that we've got. The first of them will be Paul Canuli taking on Ben Bray, and, well, it's got to be said, two surprise finalists here without a shadow of a doubt.
Absolutely. Under the radar this weekend, Paul Canuli, the Janssen Race Engines sponsored car. Mike Janis preparing that entry. We saw Mike out a couple of times back in 2010. And Ben Bray, former Winternationals winner, and the comeback. These guys pulled the engine down. He felt something was loose, not right with the car in that first round. They just got this car started as I was heading back to the commentary box.
Okay, so drama in the Bray pit area, but, well, Ben Bray back in the seat after 12 months off. He's looking fitter than ever, it has to be said. And Paul Canuli, he is a guy who can absolutely drive the wheels off anything that he jumps in. Doesn't matter if it's his car or somebody else's, he doesn't care. He will keep that foot absolutely planted to the firewall.
Oh, no, it's a red light.
And
we just gave him the mic. Oh, no, Canuli hits the line, and guess what?
Well, I was just about to say that is the end of Ben Bray's weekend, and a red light wouldn't be the way you want to do it, but Paul Canuli goes out and basically demonstrates the first or worst rule. Now, up until this point, Ben Bray had lost this race. Paul Canuli was the winner, but then Paul Canuli crossed the centre line, hit those timing cones, hands the win back across to Ben Bray, and that is just one of the most bizarre circumstances I've seen in Top Doorslammer for a long time.
Wow, I wonder, you and I have been to this track a few times, whether the sun might just be becoming an issue now. It's starting to disappear a bit. I'm not trying to make excuses for it, but it has been a talking point over the years.
Well, it is getting to that time of the day, it has to be said. You can see the reflections bouncing off the cars and, well, especially bouncing off the 8-time champions car. John Zappia on track looking to just continue this absolute streak that he's got going on at the moment. 8 national championships in a row. He is looking for a perfect season. And I don't think that's ever been done in just about any professional class. Matt, you're the stats guy.
Not in the recent years. And this guy's been unstoppable for years. Mark Valeri is going to be the opponent, though. 6th time they've met in the recent times. 4-2 in favour of Zappia. They last met at Calder Park in 2014. Can you imagine this? If Zappia wins this, we're going to have a classic confrontation between him and Benny Bray. But Mark Valeri can still do this.
Well, Mark Valeri certainly can. He is a hell of a driver. He's got a hell of a car underneath him. And you can see them just adjusting that mirror yet again. Well, no, John was pretty happy with it that time around, so no adjustment needed.
Look at the sun, though, how low it was.
Yeah.
Valeri's going to have it tougher in his lane here.
Now, I can see Mark Valeri's dad, Lucky, just reaching into the cockpit there. He was waving his finger. I'm not sure what it was about, but I think that is certainly the sun playing games there. Mark Valeri leaves before the tree is activated, and a big bout of tyre shake for John Zappia. He was there for the taking.
My goodness, it's a 91 still. But look at this. Yeah, I'd have to say as the sun, you can see the right there. Their vision is a lot lower than that. And Valeri, it's a wasted pass.
Yeah. It's a difficult one because, I mean, everybody races on the same track, but you've got to think a sun break has been taken here before at Willowbank Raceway. In that kind of circumstance where you can't see the Christmas tree, I really feel for Mark Valeri, but it doesn't matter. John Zappia is the winner, and he will take on Ben Bray in what promises to be a Goliath matchup here in Top Doorslammer. That is your Snap-on Race Ladder.
The 48th Fuchs Winternationals coming to a close for Top Alcohol and Top Doorslammer. We've got some killer finals to come our way, Rusty Gregory, in what's going to be nighttime conditions. It's not too cold right now, but these guys have done it all before. You've got to wind the clock back to 2012, though. Unfortunately, that day we raced on a Tuesday, and Jamie Newton didn't make it out onto the racetrack with his first shot. This is another chance for him to back up the national record, too, in Top Alcohol Dragster.
Well, and he's certainly in with a shot. Third consecutive final round at the Winternationals for Jamie Noonan. That is quite an impressive feat when you consider the calibre of opponents that we've had in Top Alcohol over the last couple of years. And Steve Reid, well, what can we say about him? He hasn't been the quickest car in the field, but he has certainly been the most consistent, running straight down the centre of the lane every single time, 550s each and every run down the racetrack. And that's exactly what you need to do. It wins you rounds, and it will win you all the way through to the final here in Top Alcohol.
And if you look back at the numbers all year, if you were to take the Perth race and put it here this weekend, you'd have to run 40s all weekend long. But Steve Reid just running consistently in the 550s. We're on board with the All-Star Batteries entry, looking down the barrel perhaps of another win at the Winternationals in front of his home crowd. Jamie Noonan is looking to get his first ever win here at the Winternationals left of screen.
That first gold Christmas tree is always the hardest to win, and I think Jamie Noonan is a testament to that. Been to 2 final rounds before this and has walked away empty-handed. He does not want to make it 3 in a row.
So who's going to blink first? Once in the full stage, you've 7 seconds for the other car to get in. Revs are up. The final of Top Alcohol here at the Fuchs Winternationals. And it's a reaction time advantage to Reid, but I think the dragster's going to do it here, and he's going to do it nicely, and that's 2 wins in succession for a dragster here at the Winternationals, and that's the national record backed up for Jamie Noonan.
5:52, that is the way to do it. You can see his dad, John Noonan, on the start line there, very, very happy, as is the rest of the crew. It looked like for Steve Reid it was a perfect run up until around about the 1,000-foot mark. The chutes did come out early, and he was off that throttle, which allowed Jamie Noonan to just streak ahead and take the win, but still a flawless performance this weekend from Jamie Noonan. Even our camera couldn't keep up at this kind of speed. Jamie Noonan, new national record holder, a very happy crew on the start line.
Well, Jamie Noonan, a dream weekend for you. National records on both ends at Top Alcohol dragster. Well done.
Well, yeah, it was a great weekend now. I mean, in qualifying, we couldn't get down the track, but then we just had to back it down that much to try and win the race, and that's what we did, and it all worked out to plan, and it's a really good effort.
Does it feel like to hold one of them now?
Well, I mean, twice, 2 years in a row, I missed out on. I was in the final, and it rained on one, and then we broke on another. So to finally get it, it's awesome. It's a great feeling.
Time now to recap your series points for Top Alcohol, and for the 17th time, Gary Phillips is your series champion. He won it by less than a round of racing over John Cannulli, who lost it in the most spectacular of circumstances possible. Steve Reid rounding out your top 3 for High Tech Oils.
So we continue on. And don't think because the championship is over in Top Doorslammer that the action won't be any less. It's going to be a marquee matchup to wrap up the 2015 season. And why not do it with 2 of the biggest battlers in the championship, John Zappia and Ben Bray, to wrap up this year's championship.
I think you could call these guys brawlers.
Brawlers,
rather than battlers. These 2 guys, arch enemies. They haven't always seen eye to eye, these guys, but I think there's a lot of respect between the 2 teams, and there's a lot of respect between these 2 drivers. Ben Bray, because John Zappia is one of the most fearsome racers that we've ever seen in Top Doorslammer. That is evident by his results. And Ben Bray, because, well, he's a guy who came in as a kid. He was a kid. He won 2 national championships in Top Doorslammer, another in Top Alcohol. He's had his fair share of trials and tribulations. And John Zappia and that team, they respect everything that the Bray family has gone through.
Last time they met in a Winternationals final was 2007. This is the 14th time they've met since 2007. It's 9-5 in the favour of John Zappia right now. Keeping in mind, Rusty, he's looking to back up the Top Doorslammer national record once again. And I can just feel it from this commentary box right now that we may have a 60 on our hands.
I think there's a very good chance of it. Of course, I'd be very surprised if it comes from Ben Bray in that side of the track. I think it's almost certainly going to come from John Zappia. With the numbers that he has been punching out, he has been head and shoulders above everybody else this weekend as far as the elapsed times go. But this is a different scenario now. We're racing at night, conditions a little bit cooler than what we've seen throughout the day. And does that open the door for Ben Bray to take the Winternationals Championship away?
Time to find out. Oh, the reaction time advantage to Bray. We know Zapia's not that strong in that department, but it matters not because Zapia wins. It's a clean sweep, and it's a 69.
Wow.
569, 403 kilometres an hour, and that's the new national record.
Incredible performance, and for a team that has won everything there is to win, you can see just how excited they still get about taking these trophies home. John Zapia, that was picture perfect. Left with the front wheels in the air, and unfortunately for Ben Bray, I think it might have thrown the blower belt. There was a few funny sparks coming out of the exhaust pipes, but John Zapia, man oh man, another one, and puts the exclamation point on the perfect season.
Wow, John Zapia, I don't think I've ever heard you so animated getting out of a race car. 569, new national record, and the perfect season in ANDRA Top Doorslammer.
Oh man, it's just unbelievable. The Fuchs Striker Monaro just flew all weekend. We had tyre shake every run except that one. We took a gamble. We thought we're going the wrong way. Let's just try something, because whatever we did on the second run didn't work. It went back to a 591. We knew Ben could run 591. We know he can cut lights. We went, nah, there's no way that's going to happen. Let's try something we haven't tried. We threw it at it. It took it. I punched second gear. I didn't have to lift. First full throttle pass of the weekend, and I told everyone if I can hold it flat, it'll run a 60. 69er. Woo!
Well, the championship was wrapped up well before we got here to Willowbank for the Winter Nationals, but John Zapia extended that lead. A dominating performance yet again for his 8th consecutive national title. Maurice Fabietti ended up finishing second, and Marty Dack rounded out your top 3 for High-Tech Oils.
Cannuli versus Noonan. We're away. It's a reaction time advantage to Noonan. Oh dear, it's a big fireball for the Crossroads team. And Cannuli loses it, but the car is in trouble here. He's blinded by the vision.
Stick around, because coming up after the break, it's time to indulge in all things Porsche. The Rennsport event is back at Sydney Motorsport Park in late April. We're going to take you back to 2013 for the inaugural event at Sydney.